Do you guys want to see Nick Cage in Star Wars?
No.
No.
You know what? Okay, why not?
Yeah,
There's plenty of people from Star Wars.
I think
Why
you
not?
do a good
I
job.
don't know.
Yeah,
I see him more as like a novelty actor.
you need to watch some more Nick Cage, Scott. We're
I
gonna have a Nick
guess.
Cage marathon.
You need to watch
Yes,
some more
yeah.
Star Wars because.
Yeah.
Hello there. You found the Lost Holocron, an ancient artifact of lore and legends from a galaxy far, far away. Each transmission of the Lost Holocron, you will join an episodic discussion of media from the Star Wars universe. We will be your guide, an orb.
Hey guys, it's me, Tim. I float around.
I'm a Jin. Scott's a
what?
poltergeist.
Oh. Here, let me move some.
Oh no! Somebody get the priest.
And you think that Stewart is a demon, but he's really an otaku.
Really? What?
Sorry, no, wait. We're going to be covering the material up to and including Chapter 6 of Dark Force Rising. Stuart, what's happening? Make it make sense.
What is happening?
Grand Admiral Thrawn has begun a campaign to destroy the New Republic, beleaguering many prospective member worlds to spread New Republic resources thin. From Myrkr, Thrawn harvested ysalamiri to leverage the alliance of Dark Jedi clone Joruus C'Baoth of Wayland, where they also find a cache of technology from the late Emperor. In Mount Tantiss, operation is underway to train the next generation of Imperials. They have a bounty out on warships to supply their growing numbers. Between operations, C'Baoth awaits the Jedi promised in exchange for his talents, Luke Skywalker and pregnant Leia Organa Solo. Captain Pellaeon has been vocal about his misgivings towards the tenuous alliance. However, C'Baoth's battle meditation has proven tremendous. With several failed abductions on Organa Solo by the Noghri taskforce, Pellaeon fears the tempestuous clone will become a liability as his patience runs out waiting for Skywalker on Jormark. Tim, what happened in Chapter 6?
What did happen in Chapter 6? I'm not understanding this sentence yet.
Ergonomic? It's just economic.
Ergonomic pressure.
It's just really comfortable economics.
Economic and psychological pressure. Thrawn is pleased with the disarray sown amongst the Republic political structure. He has been receiving intel from inside the Imperial Palace. Even Pellaeon doesn't know details on the informant designated Delta Source. Thrawn and Pellaeon butt heads as they oversee a raid on New Republic supply lines through Sarka. C'Baoth has disregarded direct orders at Tanab, something that Pellaeon is particularly sensitive to. However, Thrawn dismisses the threat that the clone could face in the grand scheme of things. Regardless, Thrawn plans to deliver a message personally to the Noghri people to impress the importance of success in their mission to abduct Leia Organa Solo. On Jormark, C'Baoth awakens to sense the approach of a messenger from the village. He muses over the dynamics of his relationship with the Empire, reflecting on how he has been regarded by the various peoples he has subjugated. He relishes the challenge of manipulating Skywalker to his surreptitious machinations.
I loved when Pellaeon was complaining to Thrawn that C'Baoth wasn't following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And Thrawn's like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's demote him. Instead of anyone was thinking. I understand Pellaeon's frustration as somebody who has to follow the rules, seeing someone that doesn't have to follow rules. Want something to be done, but there's nothing to be done. You can't do anything.
Right.
I do think Thrawn is a bit off, saying he's too mentally unstable to do any harm to us. I feel like mentally unstable people can do a lot of harm.
Yeah.
Do a lot of
Especially a guy with Force lightning.
Yeah.
So actually, I sided with Thrawn on this one that understandably he can do a lot of immediate damage, but it's one of those things of like, nuclear power causes a lot of devastation if it goes wrong, but just the slow and silent deaths from coal fire is unseen, and it's that kind of, well, it's in your face. This airplane crashed, and so now I'm afraid to get on an airplane, but I'm willing to drive in a taxi or a car to the airport, which is, I don't remember the statistics, but I think it's like 200 times more likely to get in a car crash on your way to the airport than the airplane actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like with Thrawn's like vast knowledge, I feel like there's a little less of a plan though, because I mean, yeah, there's plenty of things like that, but I mean, like, if you're dealing with somebody truly mentally unstable, Thrawn could be like, all right, guys, we have to stop here. And then somebody looks at Thrawn and be like, Captain, somebody cut the brake lines.
That's true. In the various media I've seen Thrawn show up in, it seems like the thing that always gets him is the unexpected thing, like the one thing he didn't think about. And if C'Baoth is truly that chaotic, I'm sure he can come up with something that Thrawn would not think of.
Do you think that's the way it's going to go down, though? Is that Thrawn is just, because he said, like, he's not the kind of guy to have a long-term plan, and that is the only thing that can undo us. Where the thing that undid their plan in the first book was the spurious, this guy who happens to have the codes is also in the same place as us. So it's not long-term plans that end up undoing him, but those kind of perchance things that happen. But even then, he's underestimating C'Baoth by him. We get his inner monologue at the end of the chapter of like, well, once there's two of this, there's no stopping us.
Yeah.
Is that a long-term plan? Or is that just megalomania? We need to look that up. Megalomania. Yeah. Is this the megalomania talking?
See, what Thrawn expects is for C'Baoth to zap him, and that's why he has the ysalamiri. Right. What he does not expect is for C'Baoth to crush him between his thighs. And so that's going to be his undoing.
He's going to crush him with his thighs in the razor grass.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it, is I think Thrawn is thinking, and this is like anything, like you can only expect so much, but like he's like, he's too mentally unstable. If we were dueling, his swings would be wild or something like this. But if somebody is truly unstable, that's when the pocket sand gets thrown out, and like the brake line thing reminded me. I don't know if any of you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but there's a scene where all of the group is in a van together, and it's like the very first time, one of the very few times that everyone is in agreement. They're like, okay, here's the plan. I'm going to do this. You're going to do this. And they're like, man, isn't this great when we all work a plan out? And then Shorty Day's character in the back is like, right, exactly. And I cut the brake lines to the van. And they're like, what? And he throws himself out the back of the van. And he's like, Biocron bitches.
Very good.
And it's just like, if somebody is truly unstable and you don't keep them in check, what is stopping? If C'Baoth really just thinks that this is all and he needs to do something, what would stop him from hyperdriving his ship directly into the Chimera?
I did like some of the descriptions of the battles, though, in this. He said, like, it was quite taxing, but he took control of every single man stationed on the batteries and just hammered this ship to take it down in, like, mere minutes or seconds or however long that time, but, like, really quickly.
God, I love how this chapter opened.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. What would stop him from taking control of everybody on the Chimera and just lynching Thrawn?
The ysalamiri.
Oh wait, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
but he just has to find one person on an entire Star Destroyer to
True.
leave an impression of like, I really got to stab this guy. And
Yeah, that's true.
but I guess that's when Rook comes in to play and snaps people's necks.
Yeah.
Or just shoot him. If he gets his hand on a blaster.
Just
I don't
find
know.
one guy in the engine bay and be like, all right, make this one fuel cell unstable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it would take.
Mhm.
But I get the impression that from this battle meditation is that it's not about directly taking control of people, but it's aligning people in a way that their coordination becomes so
Right.
efficient that
Mhm.
so he's not
Yeah.
actually in the minds of the 12 people on the starboard batteries. He's just making their mental synapses fire in such timing that the batteries are hitting all at the same
Yeah.
time and overloading the shields and getting right through down into the hull. And so it's more about that
Right.
coordination effort rather than like, yes, he's coordinating the firings inside their brain, but he's not actually putting thoughts in their brain to
Mhm.
perform the tasks that they've been ordered to do.
Yeah. That's kind of how that's the impression I got as well.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the lubricant with all, every working part, making everything work a lot smoother and better and more efficient.
I feel like it could potentially work by suppressing ego and fear as well,
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
probably make people a lot more efficient.
Yeah, for sure.
Making them a little bit more robotic.
Yeah.
Kind of like
The Force makes you a robot.
yeah.
I thought it was interesting that they had the guy screaming epithets at him while also calling him master while he was manipulating him as well. What was that part about? That was really interesting. I feel like that was quite telling. Okay, here it is. Master, the word echoed through C'Baoth's mind, sparking a wind-blown tangle of thoughts and feelings. And he'd watched Captain Aban sit there on his command chair on the bellicose, shouting and blaspheming at him even while calling him master, spitting anger and impotent rage as C'Baoth calmly inflicted his punishment on the rebel ships that he dared to strike at his ship. Oh, okay. I thought that was
that's
more...
interesting. It's so good that he specifically uses the word blaspheming as well, because that shows the god complex that C'Baoth has.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I completely overlooked that sentence. Or that phrase. Dang, that's a good one.
Yeah. That is really good characterization there.
I feel like these C'Baoth chapters, I mean, they kind of confirm what we already know, but it's like, I don't know, I'm trying to remember, like, I mean, we pretty much sussed out that C'Baoth's like a cult leader. Was that stuff that was like made clear in the previous book, or was it just stuff that we were like speculating based on information we had, and this is just confirming it?
I think we speculated, like in our very first encounter with him, we speculated that was the case, but it's become more and more obvious. There's little hints that, and in this chapter, it specifically says that like he didn't have to dominate the will of these people; they would just follow his orders very quickly.
I'm so convinced that he's a clone of a clone of a clone of a clone. This is Joruus 4893276.
Yeah, no, I'm still down on that theory.
Yeah.
Maybe all the candles that were in his little cave were like all his clones.
A candle for every dead clone.
Yeah.
Ooh, there were hundreds of those things.
Yeah.
I gotta say, something else I'm liking about this book so far is that it seems like the C'Baoth sections are being paired up with the Thrawn sections each time.
Yeah.
I like seeing that conflict continue to simmer.
Actually, speaking of simmering conflict, I like how, in the previous book, we were a little bit restless over the tension between Pellaeon and Thrawn of like, okay, what's actually going to happen here? But like in this chapter specifically, there was a lot more disagreement between them that I feel like their relationship is progressively evolving to more and more contentious. And I wonder if that will end with mutiny or whether Pellaeon will be edified in quite instructively.
I feel before mutiny even officially happens, Thrawn would shoot him out of an airlock before that gets over. There was a thing I forgot to reference in the last chapter, but Card's like, no, I think Mara Jade is like, it's not like Thrawn's omniscient. He almost is, though.
Yeah, I remember that line. Yeah.
And it's like, I most things don't get past Thrawn without him knowing. I feel like mutiny on a ship is one thing that if it is happening, he already knew about it and was planning for it already.
It was part of his plan all along.
Exactly. He was holding this in his back pocket so that when a pirate takes over the ship and is like, "Who's the captain?" Pellaeon happened to be the captain at that moment, so he gets killed.
Like that episode of Futurama where they're like the ship's getting sucked in black hole, and Brannigan's like, "Okay, the captain's gonna go down on the ship," and Kip's like, "Wow, that's really noble of you." He's like, "No, it's noble of you. You're the captain now."
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't know. I think it's just something. Maybe it's going over my head, but I still don't fully understand what their goal as a ship is. You get to restore the Empire, I guess, but and like trying to establish their government and stuff.
Well, I mean, at the current moment, it looks like they're trying to just destabilize and delegitimize the power that the New Republic has, and that's why they're doing all these hit and fade operations all across the galaxy, so that the New Republic just looks weak. They can't be in all these places all at once. They can't predict where these operations are going to take place, and so they just want for people to be fed up with them and probably just turn to order in fascism.
I feel like they would have an easier time assimilating as well because, like, we've only had a few years of the New Republic, and we've had at least 2 decades of the Empire before this.
Yeah.
So people are more used to that, even if it sucks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I think if member worlds would be turning willingly to the Empire, understanding that, okay, well, we want a strong military, we want people to be out there protecting us, and so they're just going to be giving up their people to say, okay, well, we'll give you conscripts if you can provide protection from, because they probably don't know who's hitting them. That's all
true.
Classified information, or just like, you don't care who's throwing the bombs, you just want a military there to stop whatever's for protection.
That's a good point. Solid strategy. It's not the only way he's destabilizing trust. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm really, really glad that Phalia is not a plant.
Yeah.
Because that feels like it.
Yeah.
Not that it would have been bad, but yeah, it would be predictable, rather.
Right.
The fact that he's just manipulating political tension and like stoking it is just, I don't know, kind of more exciting to see.
Yeah.
And also scarier because of how it happens in the real world now, but hey.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tim.
That was always the threat of the Emperor as well. I mean, was it always that way? But it's the way that we got it in episodes 1, 2, and 3. Is that
yes.
Palpatine
in George Lucas Star Wars, not Timothy Zahn Star Wars.
Yeah, Palpatine sets up the dominoes to fall in predictable ways that people are just acting in their self-interest, and that in turn empowers his own political gain. And I think maybe might be where George got his ideas from, that is more sinister than just being manipulated, being forced into these things. I know you're acting in your own self-interest, and that interest happens to align with setting me in a place of power.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Oh my God, was Thrawn actually the blueprint for Papa Palps?
He is blue.
Did he? Yeah, I was just
Oh
gonna
my
say, did he have
God.
that?
He's blue because he's sad.
Thrawn just needs a hug.
What does Thrawn need?
What if his skin color just matches his mood and he's just a single mood this entire time?
Thrawn is a chameleon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a cuddlefish. He's not getting any cuddles.
The thing that strikes me as different about this Thrawn versus the canon Thrawn is that the canon Thrawn is very explicitly politically inept, and that he needs other characters to explain why he can't just do the things that he wants because like political structures are there. He doesn't seem to understand. He doesn't seem to understand the goals and motivations of other people outside of like a particular domain when it comes to warfare or something like that. And so
Interesting.
yeah, it's interesting that in this book he is specifically not just brilliant in warfare, but that is all in the service of, as he said, economics and psychological warfare.
I gotta say though, if you're gonna nerf Thrawn, that's a good way to do it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's so sinister that he's just setting up these incentives so that failure is doing this of his own accord.
I kind of laugh at this one line. By your own analysis of the species, any Bothan who's risen as high as Failure has had would have to be highly intelligent. Sounds like they don't think much of Bothans.
Right.
Don't they? Wouldn't that mean that like Bothans are intelligent? So in order to manipulate other Bothans, he would have to be even more highly intelligent?
You know, that's a fair reading.
Possibly,
Yeah. I just had an image of many Bothans dying because they're just that dumb.
They're like,
guys, who is Delta Source? What is Delta Source?
After reading this chapter, I remembered what it was. So I guess I'm left out of all these discussions unless you want.
We know eventually. Okay.
Just yeah. We'll find out towards the end of the beginning of the next book. I think we'll find out.
Oh man, so we gotta let that simmer. All right. Well, Scott, Kyle, what do you guys think? My money's on Winter.
Really?
I don't know. Is it?
I think it's an AI.
Is it failure?
Interesting. Failure. I don't think it's Failure.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really a little mad
Just
that
throw names
Winter
up.
decided to name herself Delta Force.
Delta Source. Yeah. An AI. That would be interesting.
But I don't know. I don't think. Maybe I'm not super into the Star Wars lore that I'm aware. There's not really a like master computer character in Star Wars.
Not really. No.
Like the techno core from the Hyperion stories.
Stuart doing his best poker face right now.
I don't know what to say.
Beings, if I actually remember correctly.
Darth Jar Jar.
You know, I mean, I honestly can't recall any potential clues. Yeah. So I'm really curious to keep paying attention to this because that was a really fun reveal. Just to be like, oh, there is something.
So actually, after reading this chapter, I was like, oh yeah, Delta Source. And it reminded me of the hints that have been dropped so far for what it is.
Oh my God, we just missed it.
And I was like, oh, that is really cool. I can't wait for you guys to find out.
Oh my god. All right. Okay. All right, guys, we got to pay attention now. Stuart's like Thrawn right now, and we're like every other character in the book.
Look, I've had the script to the book before, so I think if you could figure it out from the hints that have been dropped so far, like you would be Thrawn. But
okay, interesting.
It's really clever and really subtle at the moment. So,
all right.
Yeah, I'm looking
right, well,
forward
that will
to
be an ongoing question for us.
Yeah.
I also like Thrawn admiring A-Wings.
I like that too.
I like A-Wings too.
Yeah. He's got good taste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys know the X-Wing tabletop game?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I see him playing it. Yeah.
I played that a few times.
Yeah, I played it once. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I actually did pretty good the first time, and then like after that, like the next time I played, the guy and his son that I played with, they just got like phenomenally better at the game, and I'm like, oh,
damn. It's dropped sharply in popularity recently, though, because apparently they like changed the rules pretty drastically.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a huge monetary investment too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's a new Star Wars tabletop game that I see in all the comic shops now. I forget what it's called, but I see very little of X-Wing at the moment, which is so interesting.
Is it another like minifigure kind of one? Or...
Yeah,
okay.
It is. Yeah,
I thought it was a great game, but I just didn't have the time or money or energy to invest in it.
Oh God, yeah. No, my friend has lots and lots of them. I've seen how many cases he has, and he's like told me how much money it is, and I'm like, jeez.
Yeah. That's why I never got into the actual Warhammer tabletop. Because I would just be like financially like ruined.
Man, a great way to sell toys is to give them a game.
Yeah.
I love there's like a couple of news articles that I saw posted somewhere. The first one was who played Geralt in The Witcher?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill announcing that he's not going to be Superman anymore. And then the next article was him saying that he got into Warhammer 40K. And the third one was he agreed to be Superman again.
I heard he's supposed to be involved in a Warhammer TV production.
Yep.
Which I'm super excited about. Oh my god! I hope it actually comes. Like, I hope they actually do it.
We can only hope.
That would be dark as fuck. Imagine like how dark The Witcher is in space, but probably like 100 times worse.
Physically dark. You won't be able to tell what the fuck's going on.
Right. Let's hope the strikes haven't affected its pre-production.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little more hopeful for video games or games being turned into movies and TV shows nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
They're doing a lot better at it.
There's been a pretty solid streak recently.
Yeah, I never saw the Halo series, but I heard it wasn't that great.
I don't know why he takes his helmet off every chance he gets.
I mean, I remember comic book movies having their phase of just being aggressively awful before someone finally figured them out. So that means we're going to get a lot of video game movies eventually. Maybe that's the next craze.
I enjoyed Twisted Metal. Last of Us seemed fine. Really good.
Last of Us is very good.
Yeah. And the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was definitely for the fans.
I watched Willy's Wonderland instead.
That one is also good.
It is, yeah.
I have that song forever burned into my brain.
Willy's Wonderland.
No, I'm sorry. It's the other one. It's your birthday and
it's your birthday. God, such a fun movie. Entirely because of Nicolas Cage. and the animatronics, but mainly Nicolas Cage. He makes the movie.
I love that he's just doing every movie right now.
I love that he loves doing every movie right now.
Definitely part of it is because of his IRS troubles, though.
Yeah, but he also just loves acting that much.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That whole dinosaur head thing was hilarious.
Yeah.
You guys know about the dinosaur thing?
The dinosaur thing?
He spent like a shit ton of money, like millions of money on a dinosaur skull or like fossil or something like that. And then he gets told that it was stolen from a different government and that he has to give it, he has to give it back and he's not going to give the money back.
That
Oh my God. So
sucks.
he's the new British Museum.
Oh my god. Yeah. Do you guys want to see Nick Cage in Star Wars?
No.
No.
You know what? Okay, why not?
Yeah,
There's plenty of people in Star Wars.
I think
Why
he'd
not?
do a good job.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he would.
I see him more as like a novelty actor.
You know, that's not bad.
You-
That's not a bad thing.
You need to watch some more Nick Cage, Scott. We're going to have a Nick
guess.
Cage marathon.
You need to watch
guess,
some more
yeah.
Star Wars because
Yeah.
you tell me every actor you see in Star Wars is a serious.
Hey, Harrison Ford is a great actor. We started watching that show, Shrinking, and he is really funny in that show.
Look, my issue with Nick Cage getting into Star Wars is that it's just going to be the like memeified version of Star Wars. It's
We already have the memeified version of Star Wars.
exactly, and so we need to get out of the forest and
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Right. Doesn't mean we can't have more.
taking itself seriously again.
He can be in Star Wars and be a serious person, but he's talked about, even in his most recent roles, is that he's expected to act a certain way. He's become a characterization of himself, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
He's talked about how
Yeah.
he's gone to roles and he'll do a
Right.
scene and they're like, I was hoping you'd be a little more zany in it, and he's like, "Oh, you want the full Nick Cage?"
Yeah, that's
I feel like
yeah, that's sad.
with some of the more recent things from Star Wars, Andor was a notable exception. But I think it also proves the point is that was Star Wars taking itself seriously. It wasn't a caricature of Star Wars. It was an actual, good story being told in that point. And the way that Lucas approached his storytelling wasn't being a caricature of things. It was setting a scene for the things to unfold. And unfortunately, what has happened in a lot of like Disney made stuff is that it is, I don't know how to describe it, but like that caricature aspect is like,
it's like an Ouroboros.
story.
Yeah, I think Star Wars tends to be worse when it's about itself.
Yeah,
because I think Last Jedi is an exception to that rule, but I guess really it's rather like if it's being self-reflective or if it's like gassing itself up.
yeah.
And it seems like a lot of it now is gassing itself up.
Yeah.
Is there a character in Star Wars that like the actors really stood out to you? Me and Tim recently were talking about Benicio del Toro character in The Last Jedi. Is there somebody for you guys who like that person stood out way in the movie for me? Mine is Forrest Whitaker in Rogue One as Brain Blast. Come on,
Saw Gerrera.
what the fuck is his name? What?
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera. Yeah, I love that. I love Rosario Shaw in that movie.
Yeah.
Are you saying someone that has like a completely different vibe from the rest of the movie, or someone that was just clearly acting much better, or something like that?
Different vibe in the movie.
Different vibe. Okay, cool.
Also, I guess somebody who is like has a lot of acting experience, so they do things that are a bit out of the ordinary, as well. Is also
Palpatine, Ian McDiarmid in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank. What was the guy? Luthen Rael from Andor.
Oh yeah, Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he stood out to me, but he blended in with the show so well.
Yeah,
Mm,
he did.
yeah.
The first Skarsgårds.
I think
Yeah, they're everywhere.
the lady who plays Mon Mothma as well, she is also
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
very
Genevieve
good.
something.
holding the tone. And, you know, I don't know when we're going to talk about Ahsoka, but she was definitely a highlight of that for me. Her
Yeah.
consistency of character and the tone that she brought to her scenes was, I think, a grade above most other things in
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
I think Mark Hamill was on a whole other level in Last Jedi.
Mark Hamill. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
I think he did an incredible job with that.
Mm.
Real quick, sorry, then I just wanted to bring up that one of the Skarsgårds are going to be the Crow in the Crow remake that's coming out.
Hmm.
Oh, really? Is it Bill?
I whichever one played Ed.
It's Bill.
Yeah.
That's a fun question, Kyle. I like it. I like thinking about it.
I mean, there's plenty of people who kind of show up, and I feel like because they are more well-known actors, they kind of take extra liberties. Like
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro, he does a lot of
People trust them more.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it allows for more quirkiness in Star Wars that adds a bit more flavor to the universe.
Yeah.
To tie it back to what we're supposed to be talking about.
Star Wars. You talking about Star Wars, Stuart? What are you talking about?
We're supposed to be talking about Legends Star Wars.
Do you think that Nick Cage would make a good C'Baoth?
No, I do not.
Nicolas Cage being unhinged and
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think he has the body for it though.
He can get the body. Who cares? We've got steroids, man. I think he could, but have any of you guys seen Mandy?
Yes.
No.
Okay, you know the cult leader in Mandy? That
Yes.
guy? Batman's dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see him as C'Baoth.
Hmm.
Oh, what a fucking movie.
Yeah.
That chainsaw fight.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen that.
his name is Jeremiah Sand.
Yep.
You know who's kind of going through a villain era that I really enjoy is Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. Oh man, now I want to see Ethan Hawke as C'Baoth. I just want Ethan Hawke as everyone.
You know who I want to see in Star Wars?
Who?
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Oldman's good.
Oh, I don't know how I would feel about that.
I think he would make a good.
I feel like he would do a good job.
I think he would be a good evil general-esque character.
He would, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's actually tie it back to the book. Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn is a grade above, and I hear his voice every single time now. I cannot get it out of my head.
I think he did an awesome job.
Yeah, that's how Thrawn sounds. You can't convince me otherwise.
Right? Yeah, and the audiobook, I mean, they make his voice quite a bit different.
Ooh.
But to me, I definitely prefer the Lars Mikkelsen.
What if I try to convince you that he had a southern accent instead? He's from the deep space.
Like the draw.
Deep space.
Yeah.
Thrawn's from the backspace.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, he is. In the newer canon books, they keep talking about him speaking with like a wild space accent.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like, it's fair enough just to write it out and say like, oh, that's just what they sound like. But I don't have that texture in my brain to assign to that.
You know what? Lars Mikkelsen's Thrawn voice does have a bit of a drawl to it that I could see as being like that.
Yeah. I would like to see Lars Mikkelsen get angry, because some of these interactions with like being curt and being short with Pellaeon.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that depiction in current canon, and I want to get some of that bite.
We haven't seen this, but there is a scene in Rebels where one of the other Imperial officers, it's on Ryloth, when he's getting Hera's Calicori, and one of the officers says something like about how he doesn't like understand why the art there is so important. I think it was why the Calicori is so important. And Thrawn like
Slaps him.
hoists him up and like growls at him and gets really angry. And then he's like, apologies. I forget that most people I work with don't appreciate art the same way I do. Yeah. So like he has had an angry moment, but it's not this kind of like curt angry. It's outright like rage. Yeah. More Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn is always a good thing.
Yeah. I'm liking more of this depictions, getting more insight into. I'm just enjoying reading this book. I think because like there's no part of this book that I'm like I don't want to get back to that.
Yeah, I agree.
All of it is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to see next in Chapter 7?
I'm really interested in the whole Katana fleet, Dark Force. I think that's a really cool, ominous, kind of a threat in a way.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
Since we talked about it last episode, I want to see that. I want us to go on those ships now.
With or without zombies?
Yeah. Ooh, like Dead
Or you're just going to
Space.
end up with this like Paragus type situation.
Yeah.
Where you go in, there's nothing around, and there's just all these droids that are trying to mine you.
Yeah. Scott Kyle, play KOTOR 2.
Dude, what if there's like, aliens?
This has been your weekly reminder.
Yeah.
Alien eggs. They just go on there and they just find like, millions of alien eggs. Like the face huggers.
Yeah.
I'm still working on the knife run for Resident Evil 4 though.
You know what I really do actually like I'm dying to see at this point now? I want Luke to meet C'Baoth.
Yes, that's what I want.
Please, come on.
Right.
Stop stalling.
Well, I just want him to talk more at all.
Yeah.
Because he sent them one mental message, like,
Yeah.
hey, come over, and then they stopped.
Yeah. That's what I really want to see next.
Yeah.
And really related to that, just more of Luke in general. Yeah.
Anyone else have any thoughts for the chapter?
I liked the description of C'Baoth's dreams. It said they were black-edged, and I thought that was really interesting.
We did finish in the last chapter with dreams being mentioned for Mara.
Right.
Ooh.
And I wonder if there is supposed to be some sort of connection there. I know they're not connected, but like, is the torment that she's going through something that, because he has picked up on, like we said in chapter, was it 1? The little blips in the Force that he's recognizing that she's, I don't know, sparking some stick of flint in her Force powers.
Maybe.
That these black-edged things is the something similar to what she's going on, but like not as traumatic.
I'm definitely going to be mulling over whether there's a thematic connection there now. Ooh, good thoughts, Stuart.
Because I mean, we do know that he's got issues with memory, and whether or not he actually cares about what's at the edge of the things that he can see, touch, and feel. That everything beyond that is just like, the tattered edges of a cloth.
Yeah.
Does it really matter?
Maybe it's something that Dark Force is doing to both of them. C'Baoth and Mara Jade with their crazy dreams.
I really am going to be thinking about this as we continue reading. That's a really interesting thought. Yeah.
All right. This has been the Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussion, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how you can support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we'll be waiting for you in the next transmission. We would be honored if you would join us.